We love a good ice cold heroine. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Now for today's video, I'm doing a recommendation video featuring female characters who are ice cold but end up warming up to our heroes because our heroes are just irresistible and you just want to fall in love with them. So the first book that I want to recommend you guys to check out is this one called How the Duke Saved Christmas by Anna Harrington. Now this one is obviously a Christmas themed novel that maybe you could save for when it gets closer to the holidays, but I figured I would still throw it in here for a book recommendation because I have never met such an ice cold female character like our female character in this book before. So essentially what happened was that she used to really like Christmas and she used to be very warm-hearted. She loved the holiday season, but she got into a carriage accident, I believe, and then she ended up having this like major surgery that messed up her leg. So she has very negative feelings towards the holidays now, simply because something very tragic and traumatic happened to her during the Christmas holiday season, which is totally understandable. So she doesn't want to celebrate Christmas anymore. But what ends up happening is that while she's traveling during the holiday season, there's this like really big snowstorm that takes place and she needs to seek shelter, and she stops by, I think, like a family friend's house, and that family friend is someone that she actually grew up with, and she hasn't seen him in a long time and he hasn't seen her in a long time, and he's really shocked to see someone who is completely different from the person that he once remembered. You know, she used to be so happy, so go-lucky, and now she is kind of like a shell of herself. So our hero takes it upon himself to recreate the Christmas magic, to reintroduce her to, you know, falling in love and to enter a big family full of joy and happiness during the Christmas season. So he has his niece and nephews kind of like decorate the house, kind of like bake cookies, and kind of just slowly pull her out of her depression and to pull her out of her, basically, her negativity. And it was really fun to see the family members interact with each other because it just felt like such a cozy romance, and I highly recommend you guys to check this one out. So the next book that I want to recommend for you guys to read is this one called The Redemption of Philip Thane by Lisa Byrne. So Lisa Byrne is, I think, a new to me author. I haven't read her before except for this year where I picked up a few of her books, and this one is a retelling of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, I believe, and mixed with Groundhog Day. So what essentially happens is that our hero is a big a-hole and he is entitled, he's a brat, he's a womanizer, he does not care about others. And when he's like set on a task to go to this farmland, this village, so that he can give a speech to the townspeople and encourage them to keep working hard and to keep farming so that he can earn more money, he reluctantly goes. And when he goes, he is met with this really big, warm, and happy village. Like, it's filled with all these characters that really liked him until they realize that he's not as good as everybody thinks and that, you know, he sucks. And so he makes this whole grand gesture and he's punished for it by like this like magical entity. I don't even know what it is, but it was just like these three ghosts that basically told him that he has to correct his ways or he's just never going to escape the hell that they're going to put him through. And what essentially happens is that he lives the same day over and over and over again, and it's his worst nightmare, especially when he starts realizing that he's falling slowly but surely in love with our heroine, and our heroine hates his guts. Like, our heroine is the complete opposite of him. She holds a lot of responsibility, she does her job well, and she has no time for these womanizing pricks. So she can't stand him at all, and so she is completely ice cold to him and does not want to give him an extra minute out of her day. And he is in a lot of agony and pain throughout the book because he realizes that he's stuck in this nightmare where everybody doesn't remember that the day is repeating itself. It's only him that knows that the day is repeating. And when he tries to convince our heroine that, like, you know, he's been in love with her for all these days and all these weeks and possibly months now, and she doesn't believe it because to her, you know, this is just like one day that happened and it's not repeating. So definitely check this one out if you guys want to see how our heroine ends up falling in love with our hero. Okay, so the next book that I want to recommend is this one that I'm sure a lot of people have already read before because it is a Julia Quinn novel, but I wanted to throw some familiar titles into the recommendation videos for our, historical romance readers that are still new to the genre. So this one's called A Night Like This by Julia Quinn. And essentially, our heroine is in charge of the girls, and she is to make sure that everybody is prepared for the season, and she has no time to think about anything else because she only cares about her job and her duty. But what ends up happening is that the girls that she takes care of, the older brother comes back, and the older brother is quickly smitten by her charm, by her beauty, by her personality, by everything. But she is very reluctant to believe in him because he's such a flirt. He disappeared for quite a bit of time for a reason that you guys will find out when you read the book. And it's just a very messy situation with him. And plus, she really cares about her job and she doesn't want to give her job for a man, and a man that might not even stay for too long. So she's very headstrong and she is very independent, and she would not pay attention to him and his flirtatious ways. And it was just very nice to see kind of how he won her over in the story. Okay, so the next book that I want to talk about is a book that I talked about a lot in my videos already, but I'm going to throw it back in here. It's one of my favorites from Lorraine Heath. This one's called Once More, My Darling Rogue, and this one essentially follows our heroine who is born of an upper class. She is elite. She is a good upbringing. She is seeking for a husband of the same standard as her, but she meets our hero, and our hero has kind of a murkier past. Our hero, I believe, was born like a bastard, and he was very self-sufficient, and he built his business. He made a lot of money, so he's climbing up the ranks in society, but he's not like old money. So she doesn't want to give him any attention, and our hero is attracted to her. Our heroine is attracted to him, but she's very stubborn. She doesn't want to deal with these guys when she can have something better. And what ends up happening is that she gets into an accident and then she loses her memory. Our hero ends up saving her. And when our hero ends up saving her, he manages to pull a prank and basically tell her, hey, you know what? You're actually my servant, so you're going to have to help out around the house. And so this entire time that she has lost her memory, she is helping around the house, and she's learning to be more humble. She's learning to be more grounded. And I loved it. I just ate it all up. And especially when our heroine realized that she can be like a better person in society, I loved it. So definitely check this one out if you guys haven't read this one already. The next book that I want to recommend you is this one called The Devil's Own Duke by Lenora Bell. So I read this one, I think like mid last year or late last year. This one essentially follows our heroine who is managing the wine yard that her family has grown, and she loves it so much because her late mother's dream was to do a winery and to produce all these wines in England, and her father doesn't or can't do the job himself anymore because he's getting older, so she helps out a lot. And then what ends up happening is that our heroine's father needs to marry so that they can keep the land or something. It was like a stipulation with the rule. And so she's trying to help her father find suitable candidates. But then what ends up happening is that our hero kind of steps into the into the room and says, I'm the long lost duke. This place is actually my place. This land is my land. It becomes this whole drama, this whole like mess of like who really truly owns the land. And her heart is broken because she wants to keep the land because she wants to make wine. And so she pleads with our hero and she tells him like, this is very important to me. I'm trying to make wine so that we can, boost England's reputation, that we too can produce wine as good as France does. And also it's her late mother's dream. So she's like trying to convince him, but all the while like our hero is definitely a very funnier type of person. He's very loose compared to our heroine who is very strict with herself and who is very type A. And she likes to go down the list of things that she needs to get done and crosses off everything on her list. And I absolutely ate this book up. I really enjoyed the dynamic between our two characters, and you guys should definitely check this one out. And then the last book that I want to recommend you guys to read is this one from Courtney Milan called The Duke Who Didn't. So this one is certainly different, as you can tell by the cover. It has two Asian characters in historical romance. Very hard to see. Haven't really seen it before. It's very rare. And this one is a grumpy sunshine trope, but our heroine is grumpy. And basically, she is trying to run her family business once again. And I think they make sauces, if I remember correctly. And our hero just walks in. He's very happy all the time. He's sunshiny, and he makes a lot of jokes with our heroine, who just doesn't want to listen to any of his jokes. And so this begins an opposites attract romance, and it's kind of like enemies to lovers too as well. Our heroine really cares about like finishing off all her list, and she's very type A once again. So if you guys haven't checked this one out yet, definitely do. I enjoyed it. I thought it was such a sweet romance. But anyways, that is it for all the recommendations that I do have for you for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and make sure to check out all my other videos that I have posted last year with historical romance recommendations. It's on my main channel. I have a whole playlist for it. So just scroll down and pick whatever specific trope that you want to go watch. I just want to put this out there just in case you are new to my channel and you guys didn't know, but I post a lot of historical romance content. Like, subscribe, do whatever you want. I'll be here with a new video. See you guys next time. Bye.